And with that, we're moving right into college football. Speaking of, actually, Ohio State's not sponsored by Under Armour, but Northwestern might be. I'm not sure. College football championship Saturday this week. The Big Ten championship. That's what we're going to start off with on the docket. Noon Eastern, Northwestern and Ohio State playing in Indianapolis. Ohio State back again for the second straight year. Northwestern there for what seems like the first time in maybe forever. Joe, it's an interesting game. Obviously, Northwestern's got a great defense. Their offense has been lacking a bit, and they're going up against an Ohio State team that doesn't really lack on either side and a little weaker defensively than last year. So, Joe, do you see any viable scenario where Northwestern could shock the Buckeyes, and how would they do it?
Did you just mute yourself on accident there?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. There's definitely always a possibility of an upset in college football. We saw one last week. LSU upset Florida. No one thought that was going to happen, except for probably, LSU fans. But Ohio State, they're one of the best defenses in the country. And Justin Fields is also, Justin Fields. I just don't see any, likely scenario that they could be upset. Although, who was it? Indiana did give them a run for their money a few weeks ago. If Northwestern can, exploit, the weaknesses Indiana showed when they played them, then maybe. But I think after that they improved themselves and aren't gonna try to show those weaknesses again.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I guess it's possible, but I don't see any the game plan would have to be perfectly executed because Philip Ramsey isn't going to pass you to a win. That's just not going to happen. They would have to really excel on the ground. This Ohio State defense isn't what it was last year, but it's not terrible. And Northwestern's offense has lacked at times, especially in that upset defeat to Michigan State, a team Ohio State just blew the doors off this week. For me, it would have to come down to being a very low-scoring football game. They'd have to pick Fields off multiple times. And then on the offensive end, they'd have to convert enough opportunities on enough short fields to win it. I just don't see all of those factors coming together for them. So while it's possible and while you can lay out a game for it, I wouldn't really bank on it personally.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And Joe, now we're going into a question that's hit you close to home recently. You have been talking about how Ohio State shouldn't be in the college football playoff, and you and many people, it's not just you. And I'm curious, how confident, setting your opinion aside, right, and looking at the college football playoff, how confident should Buckeyes fans be about a playoff berth if they actually win? And then how dominant do they have to look to secure that spot? So if they struggle to a win, do you still see them getting in regardless of how they win, or do you think it has to be a dominant victory?
Well, it depends on the rest of the, other matchups, honestly, for me. And what it mainly depends on is Texas A&M, who is the fifth spot right now, just outside it. And if they play the best football they've ever played against Tennessee, I know that's not a good opponent, but if they did, then I hope the eye test would show the voters that Texas A&M might deserve the spot over Ohio State, who hasn't played anybody. Not going to happen. I just want to get that out of the way. But what could happen is, Northwestern upsets Ohio State. And then you should be scared that they aren't going to make a playoff spot because they won't unless Texas A&M gets upset by Tennessee. They're number 4 for a reason. And it's because, they haven't played that much, We don't know how good they fully are because they've only played, 5 games right now?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah. Well, other teams have
granted, one of those was a win over Indiana, but other than that, they really haven't played anyone.
Yeah. And, the other teams in the top four have played 10 games by now, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
just about.
Notre Dame's 10-0, Clemson's 9-1. I'm pretty sure Alabama's 10-0 as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really just depends on if they lose at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if they win, regardless of the way they do, they're getting in. Because at the end of the day, they have beaten an Indiana team that's in the top 15, and they would have beaten another one in Northwestern that's a top 15 team. Do I think that they that there's a scenario they don't get in if they win? Possible, like you said, right? If A&M plays incredible football against Tennessee this weekend, and you see an Ohio State team that just looks bad and wins in like 9-7 fashion, yeah, maybe you have a case. But I just don't see that happening. I think Ohio State wins this game by multiple scores, and I don't think it's an issue. I think we're done having this discussion by 2 p.m. on Saturday.